Hey YouTube land, Counters there doing another action figure review. Now I haven't really been great with the uploads recently. Just I haven't had a chance to record much and I've been kind of a bit busy at the moment as well. So I haven't had a chance to record anything. So I'm going to try and change that up again. I'm hoping to try and do some work on a new intro as well for my channel. So I might do it at the start of this video. I'm not too sure yet. It might be one of the next videos I do. I might try changing things up a bit and do a couple of intros, outros, stuff like that. And try and expand and grow the channel. But for the process of this video, now before I proceed, just need to say these video reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13 up, and just to abide by the COPA and FDA rules. So for the purpose of this video, I am reviewing the Alien 40th Anniversary Big Chap Ultimate Edition. So this is a recent release from Neca at the time of this recording. I think it came out maybe a month, 2 months ago. I've had it for a little while, but I haven't gotten around to actually reviewing it. So, and it is the Big Chap from Alien. So if I just move the figure back out of the way, hopefully it will stand up. It's actually quite good at standing. I'll bring in the box. So the box basically recreates the cover of the movie poster and the DVD cover. So it's just the alien egg, or an egg, which is splitting open with the kind of green glow to it. The word alien on it, Big Chap in brackets. It is the xenomorph. It was called the Big Chap. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly why it was called Big Chap. I think it's because of the height of the xenomorph in the film. It was nicknamed the Big Chap because it's actually quite tall. And the actor who portrayed him was, I think he was around 7 foot. Just under 7 foot. So he was quite a tall chap. I think he was also the same guy that did the Predator in the Predator films as well. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was Kevin Peter Hall. If I remember correctly, I think that was the guy that actually portrayed both Alien and the Xenomorph. Or sorry, Alien and the Predator. So on flipping around to the back of the box, you have a couple of images of what you get. So this includes these Alien, but you also get a few extra accessories, including a facehugger alien egg. It's a opened alien egg. There isn't an option to have a closed version. And then you have the chest burster. And then if you don't want to open the figure and you just want to keep them in packaging, the box splits open, so the figure would have been housed in here and all the accessories behind it and to the side. And then you have another image of the xenomorph in a very kind of movie stylized image, which is kind of cool. So on to the accessories first, because they're the easiest things to get through. You get this base piece. This base for the egg is actually behind the plastic tray when you get it, and it's easy enough to assemble. There's indents on the egg, so there's a square indent and then a more triangular one, and they line up with the indents just on the actual base, so you know you're putting it in the right way. Now it doesn't really hold together too well when it's in place, but to be honest, you're not going to be hanging it upside down. You're going to be hanging it that way. But if you wanted to, you could glue it just to make it more secure, and you can actually see inside the egg. Just bring in a light source so you can actually see the detailing inside the egg. You actually see it that way as well. So it is quite nice. And you can fit the facehugger into the egg if you wish. So the facehugger is kind of similar to how most facehuggers are. Now I think, as far as I know, I believe this is a new sculpted one, because the hands are different to what I'm used to on the other facehuggers. The other ones always tend to have the kind of hands closed around like the head style, whereas these are far more open. And you can, if you wish, get the whole thing to fit inside the egg, or you can have it crawling out of the egg if you want, or you can have it just like in the cover of the box, have the tail kind of wrapped around one of the corners and have it kind of just crawling out the side of the egg. So it's up to you how you want to display it. You don't have to have it in the egg at all. You can have it hopefully attached to someone. If you have one of the human characters like Kane or Dallas or one of them. And then the other accessory you get is the chest burster, which is quite a small piece. And again, it has a bendy wire in it, just like the facehugger does. Now, as far as I can tell, the hands on the facehugger don't have the bendy wire in it. They're just in that kind of fixed pose. And just the tail of the chest burster has the bendy wire. Now, this is one of the previous chest bursters. The reason it's green is it's the one that came with the Mantis Alien, the Kenner inspired one, but this was the same mold they had used previously all along. So you can tell that these are actually different. The tail on the new one is a little bit smaller. It's raised up a little higher than the older ones, and the mouth is actually a bit more open. If you can see that on screen. So it is a different molding, but overall it's quite nice. It looks like it's a two-piece mold, maybe could be more, but you can see there's a seam line just here at the base where it connects, whereas this one, the seam line is just under the little arms here, so you can tell it is a different mold. And onto the main guy himself. If I just move things out of the way, it is the big chap alien. Now I'll just get to the stand. I'll bring in my tape measure. So it stands just around 8 inches tall, which it should be because the standard figures are 7 inches. The standard human figures. I just bring Ripley in here. You can see how tall this thing is next to her. I just push them back a bit. You can see, just pan my camera down a touch. You can see she's standing pretty much beside it, and it is quite a tall critter. Articulation wise, it has ball joints on the arms, so they go out that much, hindered by the shoulder piece. You can rotate around. It does spread out a bit when you get to a certain point, so it can go straight up that way, and then it'll kind of fan out when you get to there. It has the piping on the back. Now, as far as I can tell, this center piece doesn't pop out. They used to do it on a couple of the older versions of this guy, where you'd pop this out and be able to get the head back a bit further, but you don't. The head is on a ball joint. So you get a good range of movement, but I would stress that you need to be careful with these pipes that run down the side of the head. They can break. Jaw is hinged with its inner jaw that pops out. You can get the inner jaw to stay in a little bit better as well. You push it all the way back in, but it does go in quite a bit, and then you can pop it out. So you have that. You can close them out up around it and have it in attacking pose. The detail is quite nice on this one. You can see it's frosted glass at the front where the skull piece would be, and it kind of frosted at the back as well. So, but you can see the inner skull piece underneath, and you can just about make out the skull. Actually, if I just use a light, I'm not sure if it's picking that up, but you can just about make out the skull design underneath. I have another one that uses a similar style head, which I'll show. It's also a Neca one, and you can see the skull a good bit better. The torso is on a rocker joint. Legs can split out that much. The legs are on dual knee, or the knees are double jointed, and you also have a swivel just above here. I would stress be careful with it though, it might snap, but it is there. There is a thigh joint as well. Tail is on a bendy wire, and it's quite a long tail. The ankles are rocker ankles, and then there's a hinge kick at the front. You see the detailing around the back. It's overall, it's kind of like a grey wash, or grey paint over a black gloss base with some kind of browns and greys mixed in for the colouring. And then the arms are on double jointed elbows, and they also have a swivel just at the base of the elbow. There's nothing in the bicep, so the joints are down here, and hands then are on a swivel and can rotate around and have a hinge in and out. Unlike some of the other Alien figures and Predator figures, it only has the one set of hands. There is, well, actually mostly the human figures and the Predators tend to have alternate hands, whereas the Aliens tend to only have the one set. And then just for a size comparison, if I move the box out of the way, here it is with the sort of previous mold to it. Now, the reason this one has an all black dome is because it's the Kenner inspired version of the Alien vs Predator 2-pack. That came with kind of a more movie style Predator, and it came with a kind of more movie style Alien. But as I said, you can see the back piece would pop out on these ones to give the head a little bit more range of movement. Again, these bits are quite fragile. You still have the inner mount just like on this one. Overall, it's quite a similar design. The main differences are the double joints in the elbow, whereas this only has a single joint. The height is, it's a slight bit taller, I think. The feet, the hands look to be slightly different sculpting, especially the left one. The left one on the new one seems to have more curved fingers. The hips seem to be the same, and you still have the double jointed knees, but they're a different design, whereas the knee goes in up here. Whereas this one doesn't have it only has a rotation up here, whereas there's a rotation on the knee on the new one. But overall, very similar in design and very nice. You can see the heads are different. If I close up the mouths, get that small mouth back. This one sort of has the more snarling mouth that you see in the in some of the scenes, whereas this one has a kind of more, you know, you can see the teeth a bit more clearly. And then for another size comparison, here it is next to the video game version of the Alien. Was it Defiance, I think was the name of it. I could be wrong, but it utilizes some of the same parts. And as I was saying, you can see the skull. Wait, stop knocking everything over. You can see the skull a bit better on this one. So you can see where they were going with on this one, where the this is more movie accurate with the the fading and the shading on the skull piece. So, and then just for another comparison, because I have it to hand, and it's one of the figures that kind of started them all off. It's an older figure, but this is the old, if I can get it to stand without it collapsing. This is the very old xenomorph big chap from McFarlane Toys. The sculpting work is very similar. This is far older, far less articulation. Still has the opening, or the mouthpiece, if I can get it to work. Doesn't come out half as much as the other ones, but it is on a spring. And it's a nice sculpt for its time. I mean, don't get me wrong, the new NECA stuff is far superior in terms of articulation, but if you want something that just looks kind of cool on a shelf and is kind of fixed pose, the McFarlane one was quite nice. There was two versions of it, I think. I think there was one that came in a 2-pack with a Predator, they kind of reused it, and I think it came with a base, whereas the original release one that I have here didn't. At least I don't remember it coming with a base. So it is a bit of a tricky one to stand because of the way the legs are. The legs are actually in a kind of you just can see that the legs, one foot is flat. There goes everyone. One foot is flat and one foot is arched. So it can be a bit tricky to get that version of it to stand properly. But overall, it's a nice figure. I mean, it does have some of the key points that the other ones have, like the bendy wire tail, the ball joint in the waist. It does actually have ball jointed shoulders, but it doesn't have anything better than that on the rest of the shoulder or elbow, because the arms are fixed pose in that kind of open pose, and it has a few strategically placed swivels at the elbow, so it's not as good as the others. But overall, this review is for the Big Chap and the 40th anniversary one, and it is super cool. I do recommend picking it up if you're a big fan of Alien. I know there is a variant, a bloodied variant, that is out as part of Wave 1 as the 40th anniversary. So the 40th anniversary of Wave 1 consists of Brett. I'm trying to remember the other guy's name. Brett is one, a variation on the Alien which has blood splatter all over it, all over the face. But as far as I know, it's the same mold as this. And I can't remember the other character's name. Is the guy that, the other engineer guy that helps, that repairs the ship with Brett, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. So overall, great figure. Do recommend picking it up if you can find it. Pick it up from like Amazon or, you know, normal retailers. If you can't find it, you may have to go the eBay route, and it may be a little bit more expensive. But overall, it's a very cool figure. Or even Neca's own store, they should have it still available at the time of this recording. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Cheers guys.